Mention to someone that you're from Australia, and the first thing that they're often going to say to you is, "You're a kangaroo, you're a kangaroo. Kangaroo. And make no mistake about it, kangaroos really are all over Australia. They're fucking everywhere. There's 50 million of them actually hopping about in Australia, and there's only 25 million human beings hopping about in Australia. So that means for every one Australian, there's 2 kangaroos that you can choose from. So if you don't like that one, you can be like, ooh, I like that one a little bit. But more and more kangaroos are actually choosing to hop out of the country and to venture onto new lands in search of greener pastures. So today we're going to look at 5 places in the world where kangaroos have decided to make themselves a new home. Starting off in the UK, we've got significant populations of kangaroos hopping about in Staffordshire. Now apparently what happened is they escaped from a local zoo, and they just started breeding since the 1930s, and apparently their population just swelled until it kind of peaked around the 1970s, I suppose because that was the sort of free love era. But of course, if you think about it, the British send their convicts to Australia, and we send them back kangaroos. Fair's fair as far as I'm concerned. Now over in mainland Europe, in France, there's a town that's actually been overrun by a colony of wallabies who have been breeding for a very long time, so much so that they have actually taken over this town and kind of pushed the local inhabitants out. So the French can't even live in this town anymore because it's just being claimed by the wallabies. I don't know how they got there. I'm as surprised as you. Maybe they hopped out of a zoo or something, I'm not sure. And it's just known as Wallaby Town. There's a town in France filled with wallabies. They've taken over and there's nothing you can do about it. So over in Japan, there's apparently a colony of kangaroos hopping about in the Osaki Mountains in the Miyagi Prefecture. And even though nobody's actually taken a photo of them yet and there's no real proof, apparently the phone calls to the police are relentless that people are seeing kangaroos all the time. They've actually put up kangaroo signs on the roads around there telling people to beware when driving. Kangaroos might hop out and hit them. So again, not sure how they got there. I don't know why there's kangaroos hopping about in Japan, but they're there and they're living a good life. Apparently they're breeding, they're successful. So I guess my only advice to kangaroos living in Japan is to adopt Japanese customs. If you want people to really accept you, don't cling on to your Australian habits, the open masturbation and that sort of thing. Although when I was in Japan, I did see one guy doing that, so maybe the kangaroos have already learned the ways of the Bushido. So next we move over to Hawaii, where there's another colony of little wallabies hopping about. Now look, it's the same old story. Apparently in 1916 these wallabies were sent from Australia to Hawaii, and then they got attacked by wild dogs while in a private zoo, and they escaped except for the little child who was killed. And now there's about 80 little wallabies hopping about in this one little area of Hawaii. So yeah, if you're a wallaby living in Hawaii, good luck to you. I hope you're enjoying your new life. You know, I hope that you can become an American citizen one day, which is not that easy to do. However, Obama became an American citizen after faking a birth certificate in Hawaii, so there's luck for all you little wallabies out there. So finally we've got Germany, where you can't seem to go a single day anymore without a car hitting a kangaroo somewhere in the country, or even in neighbouring Austria actually, they have the same issue. Now often when we think about kangaroos, we don't really associate them with Germans at all, but here's an interesting story. A lot of Germans came to Australia in the 19th century, and even now there's a German town there called Harndorf, and it's actually meant that a lot of the kangaroos in the region have actually gradually become Germanized. And when I was over there once, I remember thinking to myself that the kangaroos were a little bit German, like in the way they hopped and acted. They just sort of acted a bit more German than most kangaroos. And I actually got into a conversation with one of the local German Australians, and I was asking a lot of questions about how the kangaroos have adopted their German customs, and I was asking them things like, you know, what sort of a diet do German kangaroos have? And the guy said to me, they mainly live on hops. So finally, what does this mean for us as Australians as more and more of our national symbol decides to emigrate overseas in search of greater opportunities? Well, as far as I'm concerned, good luck to them. But if you want to come back, get fucked, kangaroos, alright? We don't want you back. You know, enjoy Japan, enjoy Hawaii, enjoy Germany, enjoy Austria, enjoy England. I don't give a shit. But if you think you're coming back, you've got another thing coming. So let's see how far you go living in Germany. Alright, let's see how far you fucking go. So anyway, I've been Pete Vondelpark. Let me know in the comments whether you've seen kangaroos in a country other than Australia, and let me know what you think about them, and see you next time.